and welcome to episode number 74 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm very happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, August the 7th, 2021, and we've got a relatively nice day. It's overcast now, but it was a lot nicer earlier today. It's quite late in the day. I'm starting to film about 10 after 6 on Saturday evening. I live a very exciting life. This is what I do on a Saturday night. I do my videotaping and editing on a Saturday night. Oh, goodness. Anyway, if you're a new viewer, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here with me today, and I hope you enjoy it and stick around and watch some more episodes. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to watch another update of what I've been up to and what I've been working on. I appreciate it so much. So in the past 2 weeks, I missed last week. By last Saturday, I really had not done much crafting at all. Certainly not enough to come on and tell you about it. I had very little to show for myself. So I thought I'll just take the week off. And the first week when I was off, I was mostly resting my hands. I did a little bit of crochet. I do a few rows here, take a break, do a few more rows, take a break. With crochet, it looks like I've accomplished a lot more in the same amount of time as it does for knitting. And I'll show you just in a few minutes what I mean by that. But I'll give you life updates when we get towards the end of the episode. But I have one sort of finished object, a little stack of finished objects, almost finished objects, and a new cast on. So for someone that said they haven't done much in the last 2 weeks, the last week I've done a little bit more. So for my finished object, it's another one of my little mittens, and these are let me double check. I didn't write that down. Bad podcaster. I hope I have it written down here. The Mitten Garland Advent Calendar. It's by Kathy Lewinsky. I'm using Knit Picks palette, just a variety of colors that I have in stock in my stash. I'm using a 2.25 millimeter needles for this, and this is mitten number 11. I'm way behind on these. I've really fallen behind. I think I should be on 15 or 16 now. I'm way behind. Hopefully I'll catch up, but right now I'm way behind. And this, I just realized just half an hour ago that I forgot to do the little hang taggy. I didn't do that. It's not on here yet. So I will have to pull out the crochet hook and the yarn again and make the little hang taggy for it. But my tension is so wonky in this one. Oh my goodness, this is a wonky mitten. And you can see it's gone through there's three things going on here. In all honesty, I don't like the patterns that are all stockinette in one portion, then they go to color work. Because as you can see, my tension is wonky. It's much wider here, and then it tightens up here. But you can also see that it's wider here, then you get this part where that was knit before my hands started hurting and bothering me. And from this point down is the stuff I did in the past 2 weeks. And I'm compensating for, my hands are compensating for what I'm doing, and my tension's gone completely wonky. So you can see it's really wide here, it's nice here, and then it gets really wonky on this part. And then it widens out again once I get to the stockinette. So this is one wonky little mitten. It's just a good thing it's just hanging on a garland once I get the rest of them done. But this is a poor wonky mitten. But that's okay. I still like it. And I'm hoping that blocking will help it a little bit to make it look a little bit more uniform. But that's okay. It's mitten number 11 is done minus the little hang tag, which I will do in the next short little while. And I'm hoping to get going on mitten number 12 soon as well, because I really should try to catch up again, or at least get a little closer, so that I don't end up with only half of them done this year and then have to do the other half next year, so that I can actually use the whole 24 of them this year. We shall see. Drinking some carbonated water. I gave my husband a sip of this the other day and he's like, what is that? He's not a fan. I love this stuff, but no, whatever. I quite like it. So my other sort of finished object and new cast on is I have a stack of, I call them, it's a stack of Pet Snuggles. And there's 5 that I've finished in the past 2 weeks. And I have one more that's about a third, between a third and halfway done. It's in the living room. I forgot to bring it in here. So, but right now here's my stack of Pet Snuggles. And I think I might have talked about these on my podcast quite some time back now. But they're just a basic crocheted square. Mostly sort of square. And it's done holding 2 strands of worsted weight yarn together. And I've crocheted these using a size 6mm, which I think is a J crochet hook. I think that's what it is, but it's a 6mm that I use. Mine are marked in metric. I bought them when I still lived in Canada, way back when. I've had them for, oh goodness, I probably had those crochet hooks for about at least 30 years. Yeah, I've had them for a long time. And I haven't tucked in the tails on these yet. I'll have to sit down and do that one day. But basically all it is on my Ravelry page, if you're interested and if you crochet, you can look on there. I don't have a set pattern for this. It's just a very basic stitch. I do a chain of 45 stitches, do double crochet, US terminology, do double crochet in the 4th chain, and then double crochet all the way to the end. Chain 2, turn, double crochet in each of the double crochets all the way back. I keep doing that until I have 22 rows, which gives me about 16 inch square. And these are a nice size for putting in. I've made dozens and dozens and dozens of these over the years, and what I typically do is I'll get a little stack of them, 10, 20, 40 of them, whatever, and I take them and I donate them to the Humane Society or some other animal shelter. And they're a nice size for putting in the bottom of a little kennel for a small animal, for a cat or a small dog. I haven't made the larger ones for larger dogs, but I find these are just really quick and easy to do. So I've done up 5 of them, and again, I just use my I think they're mostly with Red Heart Super Saver. Leave them in the pet kennel. Take them out, throw them through the washing machine, throw them through the dryer. Easy peasy. They're super easy to care for. They don't need any special instructions or special care. throw them in the wash, throw them in the dryer, and they're nice and thick and squishy. And I just use old acrylic yarn that I have kicking around the house. I've got a huge stash, and I just grab two colors. I don't care what colors they are, whether they really go together or not. And I just crochet until I run out. So this time around I managed to get two that fit just right in this green and cream color. Then I did one, I still had some of the cream color yarn, but I had a small ball of purple and a small ball of burgundy. And the burgundy's a little bit thicker. You can see that it's almost, the bottom's a little bit wider than the top is. That's fine. But I just mix and match. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. And then I have two of them that are in like this. One of the yarns I used here is cream color with, it's got little splotches of green, yellow, and blue, and I mixed it with the white. And I had a full skein of each of those, or a full ball, or yeah, I guess a skein. And so far I've got two completed, and here's the second one. So I have two of them completed and a third one done in that speckle-ish with the cream blue, green, and yellow. I have enough. I'll get a third. I should get a third full little blanket made with that. Might get a fourth, or I'll have to switch to add some other colors in once I run out of that. But I plan on continuing to make these and use up all of my old acrylic yarn that I really just don't use for anything else anymore. I used to use it a lot years ago, but I don't use that kind of yarn as much anymore for much of anything. So I just want to use up the yarn I have and the stash that I have, because I have a lot of stash. So that's a project that I pull that out and I work on it in the evenings while I'm watching TV. And I find that for my hands, where this finger is still really bothering me, it's catching pretty much all the time. Crocheting doesn't bother this finger. The way I hold and tension my yarn and hold the fabric that I'm creating, I'm not putting a lot of strain on my left hand. It is, however, I think causing troubles with my left hand, or my right hand. That's your right hand, Karen. But I am finding that I'm experiencing a fair bit of pain in this part of my thumb, and my thumb is starting to, every once in a while, there's a little catch in it. So I'll talk more about my hands at the end, but for now, just to suffice it to say that I've been really trying to slow down on my crafting. These little Pet Snuggles they're quick and easy to make. I can usually crank out one in 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4 hours max. What I tend to do is, it'll take me a couple evenings to make one. I'll crochet 2 or 3 rows, and then I'll take a break and let my hands rest and relax. Then I'll do a few more rows, and then I'll rest my hands. So I might get one half done while we watch a movie one evening, and then I'll get the other half done the next day, or the next evening when I'm watching TV. So that's a lot of the crafting I've been doing in the past 2 weeks, is working on these Pet Snuggles. And I'll continue making them until I run out of acrylic, which might take a little while. And I have a decent sized stack, and I'll take them down to the Humane Society and give them to them so that they can use them for their little critters. And so that's my crocheting I've been doing. I've also started, so those, I guess that the Pet Snuggles count as a little stack of finished objects. I've also started a new project. Yeah, I've cast on another pair of socks. I have the first one, the leg is mostly done, and I'm partway through the heel flap. So these are beaded eyelet cuff socks, and it's a pattern by Debbie Haymark. And these socks are for the Super Sock World Championship knitting group contest, whatever we want to call it, on Ravelry. And this is the lap 4 design. There were two lap 4 designs, one high octane, one low octane. So those are the ones that are high octane is a little bit more complex, low octane is a little less complex. Ambulance. All right, so these are the low octane socks. So it's not a complicated design at all, which I thought would be good for my hands. That it's mostly stockinette. There's a few little eyelet designs in it. I think you can see here. And it has a few beads. And my beads are very well camouflaged. They're barely visible. You can see, and they're on every second round of the eyelets. It's a fun pattern. I've been working on this for probably 6 days. That's as much as I've got done. I think the pattern came out Sunday evening. So yeah, I've been working on these off and on for the better part of a week, and that's what I've got. I haven't even started the second sock. I think there's only 3 or 4 days left until this round is completed. I'm continuing on track to not get any points in this competition, but I'm having fun with it. So I have markers on here to indicate each repeat, and I can probably take the markers out because I'm not going to be, it's incredibly unlikely that I will finish a sock and a half by Thursday or Friday, when, like midway, not even Thursday or Friday, I think maybe Wednesday, this week coming up, I won't get these done. So I can probably take these markers out because I'm not going to be submitting them for points, and it doesn't matter. So I probably wouldn't have got many points for it anyway, because it should have been 4 repeats, and I've only done 3 repeats on the leg because I prefer my leg to be a little bit shorter because my legs are fat. And so I've got the rest of the heel flap to finish. I'm about halfway done, about halfway done the heel flap. I'm using yarn that I dyed myself. It's kind of a variegated pink. Not really variegated, heavily tonal pink colorway. And I like the color. It's not quite enough variation that it doesn't distract from the pattern too badly, and I like it. I think it's a neat color. I'm using 2.25 millimeter needles, my ChowGoo, just the regular, they're not interchangeables. And there we have it, half a sock. We got a half a hoe. That doesn't count for anything, but it'll have beads on the leg. I don't think I'll continue with any beads down the top of the foot. I doubt it. I'll probably that'll be enough for the beads. So it's very minimal beading on the low octane sock. The high octane sock had a lot more beading in it. But this is cute with just this little tiny bit of sparkle on there. So that's all I've accomplished in the past 2 weeks. The sock, like I say, it's taken me almost a week to knit half a sock. So pretty slow. And I did make 5 of the little Pet Snuggles. So I'm happy with that. And I finished my poor little wonky mitten. So I really do need to get started on the next mitten and try to catch up with that. But until my hands are feeling better, I probably won't be doing much more work on those. And I'm not likely to do much on the other pair of colorwork socks I had from Sock Madness, and probably I won't do much on, I don't think I'll work on my Demyaka Lopa for a little while. So I really don't want to mess around with colorwork tension issues, because from that mitten, clearly I'm having problems with my colorwork tension. And for the mitten, it doesn't matter. It's just for display. It's not something that will be worn, so the tension's not nearly as important an issue. But for my sock and for a sweater, my tension, I want to make sure my tension's okay. I don't want my sleeve to be all fluffy and fit properly at the top, and then the bottom half of the sleeve to go down and get tighter. I don't want that. So I think for the time being, I'm going to leave those two projects alone for now. Once I finish these pink socks, I might, depending on what the round 5 socks look like for the Super Sock World Championship contest, I might cast those on. I might just slowly keep plugging along with my pink socks. Stay tuned and find out. So that's it for my knitting and crochet content. I've had a fair bit of crochet content today. So that's all there is for that. So update on my hands. I'm not sure if I told you or if I knew 2 weeks ago I was planning on, I probably didn't know yet. Anyway, if I've already told you this part of the story, fast forward for a minute or two. I've phoned the orthopedic surgeon's office that's just at the hospital, a medical clinic just down the road a ways here. It's like 2 miles down the road from our house. I phoned them a few weeks ago, and I have an appointment for a consultation on Tuesday the 24th of August. Yeah, the 24th of August. So it's at 8:30 in the morning. So he'll take a look at my hands, and we'll talk about what some of my options are. I'm suspecting that surgery is going to be in the cards, just because of my history with my thumb and my pinky. And the way this is, like, it's just catching all the time. And there's been several times in the night I'll wake up and I go to open up my hand, because I often sleep with my hands crunched up. I will wake up and my finger will be down like this, and I have trouble straightening it out. Then when I finally do, I have to manually use my other hand to straighten it out, and it hurts like the dickens. So we'll see what the orthopedic surgeon says when I see him in a few weeks, and we'll also see what he says about my thumb, whether that is trigger thumb starting to develop there, if it maybe settles down over time. We'll see. We shall see. And so it'll be a few weeks, but I will give you an update after the 24th once I've seen him, to give you an idea of what he said and what my options are. Then earlier this morning, mainly why I didn't get my podcasting done earlier today is I went and did a blood donation. And I do this as often as I'm able to. I have no problems donating blood. In general, I have no problems donating blood. My hemoglobin levels are always high. So they like my blood because I'm nowhere near anemic. If I ever do have a blood test and find I'm anemic, I'm going to be very afraid because that means there's something seriously wrong. Because I've never been anemic. I've never been anywhere close to anemic. So they did my hemoglobin. So I've got a little pinprick on my finger here where they just did a little stab and did a quick blood test. And then you probably can't see it, but I did what they call, through the Red Cross, what they call a Power Red donation. And I probably talked about this 4 months ago when I donated last time. What they do is they hook you up to a machine, as opposed to with a regular donation, they just draw out a pint of blood, send you on your merry way. With the Power Red donation, you do a double donation in one appointment. So they hook you up to a machine, they draw the blood, the first pint, then they spin it out and they take all the red blood cells and all the good stuff they want, and then they return your platelets and extra saline back. And then once they've returned that, they draw a second pint, do the same thing, run it through the machine, separate out, take the stuff they want, and then they put the platelets, saline, all that stuff, they put it back in again. Or they return that to you. So I did that this morning, and they have certain requirements. You have to, your hemoglobin level have to be a certain level. You have to have a certain type of blood. I can't remember which ones there's 2 or 3 types that they want. So, and my blood type is O positive, and that's one of the 3 blood types that they want for the Power Red donations. So I'm able to do them. I don't have any major problems afterwards. So I'm more than happy. I can only go every 4 months instead of every 2 months as you do for regular donations. So I'm able to donate again end of November. End of November, very beginning of December. Whenever they have the clinic set up, just down the road from us. So after I did my donation, it was at 9:30 this morning. So hubby and I went. He always comes with me just in case that there's the odd time that maybe I do have a weird reaction. He's there to drive home, but it's never been a problem, and better safe than sorry though. So after I was done my donation, we went and looked around Hobby Lobby for a bit, checked a couple other shops, went to this Chinese buffet place that we really like. And we haven't been there for 4 months. We went for lunch after my donation 4 months ago in April. And so now we're there again today. So I think that's like a every 4 month deal where we go for the Chinese buffet. And then we putzed around a few places, and then by the time we were on the way home, we went and checked out a few yard sales. And by that point, it was getting closer to 1:30. And it's just like, I'm running out of steam. So we went and stopped by, my husband was going to get a few things done at work. And I said, actually, I'm just going to come and have a seat in your recliner at work and just have a nap, and then we'll head home. So I slept for almost an hour and a half. And I hadn't slept as well as I should have the night before. I was up, because whenever I donate, they want you to drink a little extra water the day before and the day after you donate, just to keep yourself well hydrated. So I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because I had extra water, quite a bit of extra water, and then I couldn't fall back asleep, so I've been up since 5:30 this morning. Well, I was up closer to 5, and I went back to bed and tossed and turned for half an hour, 40 minutes before I thought, well, I may as well, no use waking up the husband too, so I thought I'll just get up and So I was tired out this afternoon, so I went and had a nap for an hour and a half. So that was another thing that's kind of set me off schedule today with getting my filming done. But other than that, not an awful lot is new or exciting around here. We're just doing our same old, and that's about it. I think that's about it. I'll let you go. And in a few weeks, I'll have an update on my hands, and I should be able to do a podcast again next week. I will have a few weekends coming up where my schedule might change, because I do have some things coming up on Saturdays in the next 6 weeks or so. So there might be a few times where the podcast might be either a few days earlier or a few days later. I might switch up and start doing them on a Friday or Tuesday or something like that for a little while in the end of August and into September and into the beginning of October, actually. But we'll see. We'll get it all figured out later. So on that note, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get the editing done, my exciting Saturday night. I'll edit my video and get that uploading tonight, and I will see you guys again in a week. Take care. Bye.